Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the JESS MARSHALL Podcast. This week, I hope you're ready to be motivated by Jessica Williams. We're going to talk nutrition, faith, fitness, ambition, the whole 9 yards. Hope you love it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the JESS MARSHALL Podcast. Wow. Mark that swipe. Bring it. The hard thing for women these days on social media has to be that I don't know if guys come right up to women anymore and just talk to them, unless, we're in Texas. There's still some real men here, but there's just a real weird climate to how everyone communicates now. A lot of guys don't even want to ask for a phone number. I'll just DM and we'll just see what happens. So there's not a lot of commitment there.
Yeah, no risk.
Yeah, there's like, I'm going to dip my toe, see what happens, and then I don't have to get shot down.
Right.
Or, I don't know, it's a weird deal.
Yeah, I think it stems from a lot of things. Successful people want to meet successful people, and successful people are innately busy. And so they're not necessarily always welcoming of being approached. I'm not always welcoming of being approached. I'm typically going from A to B, and I'm beelining, so I don't love getting interrupted. But the other end of it is, I think people, are scared to put themselves out there because, the worst thing is rejection. It's not, all right, well, I tried and try again. That's totally lost. That's totally left in the 50s. A man gets shut down and he still is like, no, I like that girl. And I'm going to keep going after that girl. That's unheard of nowadays.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys who aren't secure in themselves, so they use the excuse of, well, I don't want to be too forward. I don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable. It takes a few broken eggs to make an omelet, they say. Like, if you really want something, you got to get out there and get after it.
Anything
Don't be a weird creep or anything like that.
Right.
But being assertive is part of what a man is supposed to be, in my opinion. A protector,
Agreed.
a provider, assertive, knows the direction he's going, confident, whether he's getting a bunch of praise and affirmation behind the scenes or not, he's just blazing.
Right.
And that's lost. I ask a lot of the ladies who come on the podcast these questions because it's a big concern. I know for a lot of y'all, there's just this like, what's going on? Where are the real men at? And there's not. I don't think there's an easy answer to any of that.
No, I think it's generations of broken homes mixed with generations of kind of some blurred roles at home. For sure. I grew up single mom home. Mom worked her ass off, and definitely raised me with some good morals. But I didn't have a man present in the home, and so what do I become? Well, I become a strong, independent female. And that's not like a raise the flag, whatever, feminism. I would never say I'm a feminist. But you repeat what you're taught, and that was the example in my home. So that's what I've continued to do. And I raised strong children, not just girls, a boy too. And I think on the other end of that, you've got men who didn't grow up possibly with a dad in the home much. And so they see this strong woman, this capable woman who's doing the best she can to hold it all down. And that's attractive to them because you hear it all the time. You want to date your mom in some ways, and so they go seek that. And that's a pretty easy road. You go from a mom who did everything she could to raise you well, take care of you, and then you find that in a mate, and now all of a sudden the cycle kind of continues because the men have never. And not to say that this is obviously a generalization. There are definitely strong men out there, and I know several, but they've never been taught. They don't know what that looks like. We are a generation where so many of us multiple generations now, don't know what a positive family dynamic really looks like. And that's not to say that everybody didn't do their best. But you did what you had to do in the situation that you were in, and that left a lot of women, I think, learning how to take on a lot more than maybe they did 50 years ago, and a lot of men really happily relinquishing a lot of things. That 50 years ago, man, that would have made them really uncomfortable. And I'm not trying to say I want to live in the 50s. Do not want to live in the 50s because I think progress is good. But there's definitely got to be some sort of balance, I think, for it to be really healthy.
Yeah, I think it's a weird deal because we talk about like the home dynamic, a broken home is what it can be referred to sometimes when, maybe everybody did do their best. Maybe just things didn't work out the way they're supposed to. I know sometimes, bad things happen that can drive a wedge and it just is what it is. It just seems like these days intentionality is more important than it ever has been because there is so much just at your fingertips. You can just sit on your couch and get people, food, cars, content, whatever, just delivered to you at the push of a button.
Yep.
You don't really have to go hunt or gather a darn thing anymore.
Yep.
And I think that just starts to wear down people's edges.
Yep.
So where people were maybe a little sharper and going at things from angles, they're kind of just softer now.
Yep.
Like you said, progress in some things is good. Progress in other things is not so good. And there's not like this easy answer.
Right.
Like everybody in politics wants there to be just vote red, vote blue. There's an easy answer.
Right.
Or, those people are bad. These people are good. There's an easy, and there's life is just this big gray area. Sometimes it seems like.
Yeah.
Is it? Has it been a challenge for you to raise your kids in this very secular world with convictions and morals, and this is what we believe, and this is what I believe, kids, and things like that? Or has that been something that you've really gone aggressively at?
Honestly, no. I think it's probably a huge challenge for a lot of people. But I mean, from the time the twins, who are now almost 17, were little bitty, I mean, rules were laid out, consequences were laid out, expectations were laid out. They were definitely, I'll use the word trained from a very young age with what behavior expectations were. Now, that's not to say that as they get older, they don't have to figure some things out on their own, and there's got to be some grace there. But they've never walked on the wild side or showed any desire to. Now, I think a big part of that is, also from a very young age, we got them involved in a lot of things, and really, I knew just through my adolescence how important it was for me to have different positive outlets and be involved in multiple things. I didn't ever want to. I didn't ever have downtime as a kid. I was consistently playing this sport or doing this or in this club or whatever it was, and that became my identity. That became who I was. And so there was never any chance of me fucking around or doing something shady on the side, because I cared about this and I was invested in this and I was invested in this. So the same thing with them. I'm a big believer in, figure out who you are as a person, but also figure out what your niche is. And go hard in that niche. Kids today, I feel like so many of them are, parents are just trying to not screw it up. Well, you're going to have to be a little firmer than that. Put your big girl panties on and, demand things of your children. Demand right and wrong. Have solid consequences so that they know, man, this is not going to fly in this house. I'm not going to get away with this again. Kids are super resilient, and kids want to know that they have boundaries. They do so. My kids have absolutely flourished because they know. They are fiercely loved, but man, don't you step outside that line, because, and they know it's for their own good, but at the same time, they know that there's going to be hell to pay. And I think there's so much of that missing. We've got, it goes along with the broken homes that we were talking about. It goes along with the blurred roles in the household. I mean, people are wishy-washy. Parents are soft. And you don't have to beat your kids to have firm and consistent expectations and to back those up. We have friends who, on the one hand, my daughter plays elite sports, and it's very similar mindsets among those parents, because that's been the focus. This is your niche. You go hard in it, and you do everything you can be, or be everything you can be with what God gave you. And then I have, my son's friends who are a great group of friends, but not super athletes, just kind of more techie kids. And there's been, a couple of them that have kind of, walked some really thin lines with some behavior stuff. And it's just a difference, I think, in, how regimented those kids' lives are. What's important to you? What do you love? What makes you feel great? Then we're going to do the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And we're going to go hard in the paint in whatever that is, and you're going to feel a sense of purpose in that. You're going to feel a sense of accomplishment with that. You're going to learn how to fucking struggle. You're going to learn how to overcome some adversity. It's not supposed to be easy. If it's too easy, man, we need to play in a harder league, or we need to play with a better team, or whatever, because the growth comes when it's sucky, when it's hard.
Well, did you grow up playing? You said you grew up playing sports. Who got that? Who got you into those? How did you get in? Was that a friend's thing, or
that's a really good question.
A brother, a sister?
So I had an older brother,
Yeah.
And he was 5 years older, but I always wanted to impress him, and so I think I grew up a total tomboy, and playing in the dirt and camping and fishing and all this, and I think that's just kind of who I was, and that was my intentions as a child were to impress him, to be cool or whatever in his eyes. And it just, I just always, it was super competitive. And I don't think I really knew or understood that you don't get better from the wins. I shouldn't say that. You get better from everything, but you're not really growing from the wins. You're growing from when you get your ass kicked. You're growing when you are seriously, seriously questioning, man, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. Man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Man, I don't know if I can make this happen. That's when you're growing. And whether you make it happen or not, it's the journey to trying to figure out how to. That's where the growth is. But so many, I just grew up, I think, wanting to kind of, shine in front of him, and it just translated into everything I did. I was super competitive academically, and because I don't understand. I'm just not wired to think of myself so little. Maybe it's arrogance, but to think of myself so little, to think that, okay, if I'm going to give some of my time to this, why would I not do it 100%? Like, why would I not really do it well? And so that's something that that's a whole nother caveat issue with today. I think people just, punch clocks and, get by day to day. And it's no wonder why everybody's miserable, because what you're doing doesn't set your soul on fire.
Do you see a lot of misery? Do you hear a lot of misery from people who reach out to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, and I don't know that I would call it misery. I would call it, for the ones that reach out to me, there's a ton of misery out there. For the ones that reach out to me, they're just lost. Like, there was some point or time in their life when they felt like they knew who they were, and obviously, as we age, we continue to evolve. But there are absolutely core pieces of us that remain the same, if that's truly part of our identity. And so, and it's very common, especially for females, and honestly, I would say for a lot of males now too, because the role dynamics have changed so much. For them to throw themselves into being the wife, being the mom, being the homekeeper, being a professional also. So they've got all these multiple hats, and they're last on their list. Last. And so the majority of my clients are female. When they come to me, they're just like, man, I used to really like myself. I used to really feel like what I did made a difference. And I don't feel like that anymore. And I need to find something that makes me feel good about me again. And yes, pour into other people. That's rewarding. Absolutely. I'm not negating that. But until you truly remember how to and learn how to pour into yourself and not like spa days. I mean, like really building yourself brick by brick again. You don't know what feels great anymore, you know?
When you were growing up and you were starting to succeed in sports or in the classroom, what do you remember the first time you had like your big landmark first failure, first loss, like devastating, like, oh my gosh, we put everything into this, that type of thing?
You know, I don't. I mean, there have been so many. Like it's countless. I mean, I wasn't ever a part of some big state championship team or anything like that. I mean, I was a pretty good athlete, and I was a super hard worker, and I was a good leader just because I was feisty as shit, and I wanted everybody.
Are you from here? Are you from Texas?
A little bit, yeah.
Little bit. No, you said you could tell where I was from.
I'm definitely from Texas.
I can tell that you're from down this way
Yes.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. And so, I mean, there was never any like Cinderella story that, fell apart or whatever. It was just consistently keep working. And I feel like that's a big kind of underlying moral of my adult life. Keep working. You're not done yet. And that's not like just keep working harder to no avail. It's keep getting better. Don't be done with you. I think so many people forgot how to keep working on themselves, so long ago.
Did that ever happen to you? Like when you first had
you
first had your set of twins, you were pretty young. Was it just you to the back of the line and
yes,
like the house was on fire, you had to concentrate on
for sure.
I mean, that's a full-time job, being young and having twins.
That is a full-time job, and I mean 100%. I basically had 3 children at the time because their father was a grown child. That marriage didn't work out, obviously. But it was a lot. And you 100%, I mean, you come home with twins and who are not going to survive on their own without you taking care of them, day in and day out. And your spouse, who used to be completely dependent upon you, is, I mean, you got you now. I mean, I've got them. And so... yeah, that absolutely, like throwing yourself into the role of mom, my marriage took a hit as well, which it was already a sinking ship. But anyway, so yeah, you put yourself last. I was still coaching and teaching full time at the time, 60 hours a week, had 2 babies, and never, I am totally the, all right, throw it on my back kind of girl. Like whatever it is. All right, well, just throw it on. We got it. And I mean, praise the Lord that I was always young and super active and still in the gym and still healthy. But I mean, when I was 26, when the twins, when I had C-section with the twins, 45 minutes later in the recovery room, had a massive heart attack. And I mean, it was like, the doctors were like, this is not supposed to happen. You're young, you're healthy, And I mean, I'm sure that there were contributing factors just from the C-section. And we did find out that I have a valve that doesn't close in sync or whatever. But, what are you going to do? You got two new babies at home. So you just keep going. And all that's fine. But I feel like a lot of things like that in my life, the Lord has said, all right, you're not Superwoman. I got you, but just keep in mind, you can do it all.
Do you have a problem like a lot of type A people with understanding like, okay, I'm throw it on my back, yes, but at a certain point I have to say, okay, I need, that's too much. I can see that this is probably not going to work out well or will you go through seasons where you just go and then pull back the reins and chill for a minute, or how does that work for you?
So I feel like every season is pretty much just go. And again, I think that's kind of how I'm wired. I don't love downtime. I'm working on it. But no, I don't think. I don't think I am bad at telling people, nah, not gonna fit. There was definitely a time that I was when I felt like I couldn't tell anybody no. I had to, so-and-so needs help, I need to help them. So-and-so. And now it's, if it's not, unless the Lord himself is reaching down telling me do that, or it's, for the benefit of my children, for the benefit of our household, for the benefit of finances, it's probably not happening. So yeah, and that's also part of, I think, learning how to love yourself and learning how to set boundaries. I mean, just, people think love yourself is like, going and getting a mani-pedi. No, that's not loving yourself. That's just spending money and treating yourself, whatever. Loving yourself is having expectations, having boundaries for yourself, having discipline, being consistent, being able to tell people no. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think loving yourself I'm a builder, so I've always been in construction. When you get to work on a project that you have an unlimited budget on, you can use the best materials, you can take your time, you can really show your skill, if something doesn't turn out perfectly, you can try it over. I like to equate that to loving yourself. Like, treat yourself like a project, where, like you said, you can't just go paint a fall down house and it's all of a sudden good to go. Maybe you got to take that thing all the way to the slab. You got to frame it all back up. You got to put all new brick on and a new roof on and all of that. Maybe that's what, when you have people reaching out to you and they don't love themselves anymore, or they don't even know who they are because they're just lost in the identity of their significant other or their kids or whatever. And you're telling them, it's not about a glass of wine and getting your nails done. I mean, that's fine here and there. But the real results come from swinging the hammers. And that's not a message that a lot of people receive until they feel like they have no other direction to go. The easy way out doesn't seem like something that's ever really been attractive to you, or did you try the easy way a few times and it just didn't work, so you stopped? Or
no, I mean, I don't really know that I've been involved in many situations where there was a clear, easy, or difficult way. It was just, I mean, I get. And I tell people all the time.
Twins and a heart attack. There's no easy way out of that.
I mean, I tell people all the time, it's, you don't know what you could truly get out of hard work until you put it in, because you can't explain it. I mean, until you feel proud of yourself. Like seriously, when's the last time that you did something for you that you were super proud of? Like, most people can't tell you that. I mean, they're like, I don't know, I did this for my kids. Yeah, but that's not what I'm asking you. What did you do for you to make yourself better that you're super proud of? And I mean, until you are, with the metaphor of building a house, I mean, until you are building yourself, and I mean, not, going to get this pill or that pill or whatever, but truly doing the work, being consistent, even on a day that you feel like shit, even when a day you're not motivated, because there's going to be tons of those, even on a day when you are seriously still questioning, which is a lot in the beginning, am I worth this block of my schedule? Because people aren't sure that they're worth that hour, 2 hours of their own time. That's sad. I mean, what happened? They'll give it to anybody else in their household, but they're not sure. It's too expensive for them to give it to themselves. And that's a total tragedy. I mean, when did you stop being important? And until you believe it, and until you lock it in for you, your spouse may not even support it. Your best friend might think it's crazy. I mean, she probably will think it's crazy because it's going to threaten who she feels like, she can be around you now. Whatever. That's a whole other story. So you have to believe it, and you have to stand strong for, no, I deserve this time. I need this time. I need to work on me. I need to find me, whatever. I mean, the reality is we live in a society that is consistently emulating others. I mean, you want to be somebody else. Well, how about stop trying to be somebody else and just learn how to be happy and freaking love you,
Yeah, the comparing thing, like we talked about before we started shooting with social media, is just, it's out of control. And I think the people who identify it and start to control it the first are the ones who are going to be who are able to rise above. Because whoever you want to be like, they're not going to pay your bills.
Right.
They're not going to pat you on the back.
Right.
They probably don't really even know you exist.
Right.
They're probably glad to a degree that you're one of their followers, whatever. It's all so it's also weird when you start talking about it. Like, how many followers do you have? Like, that's just odd
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. I mean, it creates a culture of, wanting to be like others, wanting to be led. I mean, we've all heard the phrase, where there's sheep. There's sheep. I mean, that's 100%. Social media creates an atmosphere of sheep. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with respecting what someone's done or seeing value in what they're putting out or wanting to learn things from other people. There's tremendous value there. Absolutely. I mean, there's a great wealth of information on social media that can be very beneficial. But when you start to say, oh, I don't have that, or oh, I can't do that, or oh, I wish I looked like that, then you're missing the value, and you're just going down the other road.
Yeah, it's all about attention now. That's that's the biggest resource on the planet.
Oh,
It
yeah.
used to be what? Water, oil. I mean, we can't live without
crazy.
either of those anymore, but everyone is just attention here, attention
Crazy.
there. Do you ever get heat from people who come after you and say, like, why do you put these photos of yourself on social media? That's not what like a faith-based Christian type mom should be doing.
Yes.
What's that like?
I've gotten that, not as much lately, but I mean, tons over the years. I think it's okay. I am so secure in who I am and secure in my relationship with the Lord and His love and His covering for me. And I know I didn't earn that. I mean, none of us earned it. Like, I wasn't good enough for Him to give me His love. He just gave me His love. And that's beautiful. So I can't de-earn it either. It is very important for me to show people, especially women, man, you can be 40 and have kids and be sexy. You can be 50 and have grandkids and be hot. I mean, if you worked for that, be proud of that shit. Your body is a canvas. It is something to be built. It's something to be proud of. I think that there are boundaries there for sure. But man, I mean, don't hide from, what you've worked on just because so-and-so says it's too much or it's dirty or whatever.
Where did the whole faith piece of your life come from? Is that something you were raised with?
Yeah. So my mom's a super strong Christian, so I was definitely raised with that. Throughout childhood, throughout adolescence, it was a very good combo of, super on fire for the Lord and then doing what I want to do. And so back and forth. But when you've gone through some of the things in life that I've gone through, and made some of the stupid decisions in life that I've made, there is no other reason in my mind that I continue to be successful and taken care of and being a good mom and all these things other than grace. I mean, it just means there's something bigger than me that's truly allowed me to fall on my face and then picked me back up every time. Or something bad's happened. I mean, along with the heart attack, several years later I have recurring brain bleed that clots in my right cerebellum. And it's not really painful anymore, but in the beginning it was really painful.
That doesn't sound like a walk in the park.
So, it's just things like that I really feel like are just such a consistent reminder that I'm taken care of, after the twins were born, the cardiologist told me, it's probably a good idea if you don't have any more kids. Well, I'm not the best listener. I'm just really stubborn. I listen well. I'm just really stubborn. Got married again, had third child, and everything was okay. Had to, get my heart checked out and all that consistently through that pregnancy. But I just think, I think the other end of that is that when you find what your niche is, what your gift is or what your heart's calling is, and you do that to the best ability that you can, I think it glorifies the Lord. And I think there's power in that. I think that he blesses what he's already blessed you with, if that makes sense. Like he's going to make it flourish. And that's what he's done, I feel like, in my life. I mean, I love to train. I love physical fitness. I love every aspect of it. I love the mental aspect of it, probably honestly more. And it's made me so much more mentally tough than anything else I've ever done in life, even motherhood. I mean, the physical aspect of pushing yourself to your limits or through your limits every day has done more for me mentally than anything else. But I think that honors him. I don't feel like, when he gives you a gift, and I have this conversation with my daughter all the time, just about, she plays volleyball and she's going to go play at Ole Miss. This is what God gave you. I mean, this has been years of hard work. I'm not negating your hard work and time that you've invested in this, but these abilities really are God-given. And so when we do something halfway with it, it doesn't honor the Lord. I mean, you have been given this. I mean, that's the same thing with your body. You hear it all the time. My body's a temple. I mean, that is the truth. I mean, this is on loan. I mean, it is up to me to take care of it and to build it and to strengthen it in a way that honors the Lord. And I think there's power in that. And I think once you really understand that your gifts are not just for you or for the people around you or for the viewing audience or for the gram or whatever, but they are like I truly believe he sits in heaven and watches and gets joy from people using their gifts.
How old were you when you started to figure out what your gifts were? What your, so a lot of faith-based people call that their calling. Mm-hmm. Was this something that you started to feel like when you started to discover athletics? Was it something that you, after high school, you were maybe more conscious of it? Or was it you just kept following your strengths and interests? And
yeah, I think it just grew over the years. I've always believed in hard work. I mean, I was really close to actually going into the Marine Corps after high school, which would have been a massive mistake. So thank you, Lord, for not having me do that. Never go in enlisted. Anyway.
Did someone advise you of that?
To not do it?
Yeah, because I almost enlisted when 9/11 went down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was already, that was 9/11. I was in college by then, but no one told me yay or nay. It just, at the last minute, I was like, nah, I just need to go to school. So anyway, but it's always been, I've always been an all in or an all out person, and that's good and bad. because even in relationships, when I've been like, okay, we could either push and make it through, or shoot the deuce and call it a day. More often than not, I've been the shoot the deuce and call it a day kind of person. Because
do you regret that?
No. No, I don't.
Has it just been that those relationships weren't worth the work?
I think so. Yes, I do. I truly believe that, and I believe everything happens for a reason. But I do believe that just learning that about myself, just self-awareness, has been huge on my intentionality in dating in the future. Because now I'm so much more like, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit. I don't know. This is, and I'm overly communicative. This is how I read that. I don't know if that's the way you mean that, but this is how I read. So we're diving in, which I think is super healthy. We talked about earlier that face to face is so rare. So even more so, over communication is so rare. People hardly know how to communicate anymore, or they're either timid because they are not sure that they're really able to communicate on a deep level, or they're elated because they feel like nobody talks anymore. So it's like, wow, we're going to actually talk. So no, I do not regret that. I feel like there were a lot of things, just from my childhood and from growing up that I needed to work through. And I mean, more than anything, I mean, it took me 40 years to learn me, to be perfectly honest. And I'm still learning. But I think that's something that has to happen in order for you to truly know who you are and what you need in a relationship, and to know what your strengths are going to be in the relationship. You know, in my 20s, I would kind of go in blind, you know, and it was definitely more superficial, or feelings. And feelings are great, don't get me wrong, but feelings aren't going to be there when you're pissed off at him at, you know, midnight over whatever happened. So there has to be more. There has to be substance there. And I mean, looking back at, you know, I would tell myself at 21, 22, dude, I mean, none of that matters. Like, literally nothing that you find attractive about that person matters at all.
Yeah, that's just not something that, even if that was advice that you gave to your own kids, that you listen to when you're that age. You're just literally
invincible.
Well, yeah. I mean, nature's taking you down the river of you know.
Oh yeah.
Just
Hotness.
it just is what it is. There's no stop, you know, take a step back, consider.
Right.
You have almost no experience to base those decisions off.
None.
You know, so you meet somebody in college, they're cool, you're like right on, you know, we're on the same page about some things. You don't even know, you shouldn't be on the same page. You should be on the same page of every book. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you don't even know that there's supposed to be a book because...
Yeah.
You know, experience is knowledge. Everything else is just information. You know, you talk a lot in your posts about, you know, tracking down failure. You know, you're in your fitness, bodybuilding. When you train, do you train to failure? So you're going every day, or when you're in there and you're training, the application that then you've made to life in general have those things just run parallel, that as your life has progressed, your fitness has progressed, and you've seen those things run more congruently more and more? Or did you recognize that right away?
Oh, no. Yeah, no. I mean, I was young and dumb for a lot of decades. No, I mean, I think it absolutely translates very, very clearly. I mean, the more you have to go through in the gym, the more you put yourself through in the gym, the more results you're going to get, the more growth you're going to get. I mean, literally. And the more you push yourself through, the more you go through, the more you experience in life, the more you're going to learn, the more growth you're going to get, the more you learn about yourself. So, I mean, it's totally a parallel. I mean, there is anybody who is looking for the easy button in life, man, you don't even know how much of a disservice you're doing to yourself, because not only are you skipping all the work, but you're skipping all the lessons. I mean, the growth does not come with the easy road. So yeah, I don't know. I just, I think, you know, like, I mean, was I fun to date in my 20s and 30s? Heck yeah. I mean, sure, we're a good time. But I mean, that's, you know, I don't want to date for fun anymore. I mean, I want to have fun with the person I'm dating, but that's not the goal. You know, I want to have a real relationship built on sustainable interests, sustainable likeness, and truly be secure in putting that person before me and vice versa. And I mean, and bear the fuck down, you know, because there's going to be times where we have to bear the fuck down, where we have to go at it against something together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when you find out if a relationship is worth just piecing out.
Right.
Or, no, this is not fun, or we got to talk this through, or, you know, it's a tough deal, because I think a lot of people do search for the easy button because this fools us into thinking that there is one. And when you actually realize that there is no easy button, that's
Mm-hmm.
when actually everything gets really easy, because there's not that many decisions to make throughout a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people in fitness will say one thing but do another. Have you seen a lot of that in your industry?
Yes.
It seems like that bothers you, because you're pretty vocal about, you know, consistency and accountability and things like that. What do people who are not in the fitness industry not understand about the fitness industry, especially these days when it's all about photos and videos and stuff like that?
I mean, I think people, I think the easy assessment of the fitness industry is that it's vanity and that it's, I mean, a lot of egos, a lot of superficial things. And I mean, there's absolutely a lot of that. I mean, no doubt. I mean, that's not necessarily a totally false judgment. But I mean, I have learned, and the ones that I keep in touch with over the years are the genuine people who truly, you know, believe in the work, believe in people, believe in making a difference, and believe in being a positive influence on someone's life. It's not, you know, about, you know, being a coach and taking a paycheck and how many paychecks can I get this month. It's truly about making that connection and helping someone find who they are again and feel good about that person. But yeah, I mean, there's, you know, it's a, you know, and I didn't compete for the first time until I was 36. Got my pro card at 38 and then was done. And I think that was a huge blessing, actually. You know, I had people approach me in my 20s about competing, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. And because I was in the gym all the time, you know, I was totally loved to lift even then. But I was like, I don't know what that is. I have kids, you know, I'm not really. And so then when I got older, it kind of was a caveat out of an unhappy relationship. I mean, I just poured myself into the gym. I poured myself into training to a totally different level, and it became my escape. And so, I mean, it can offer a ton, but it's, you know, I've met some good, I've met some not so great, you know, and I think you're going to, whoever you surround yourself with is either going to make or break who you are as a person. I'm not talking about your career. I'm not talking about your path in the industry. I'm talking about who you are as a person. And the sad thing is, I think some people just want to be around the hype, you know, not really vet out, because we're not into work. You know, we still want the easy road, even in supplements and whatever else. Vet out what the quickest way to get from looking like this to looking like this is. And that's where, again, you're still looking for an easy button. I mean, you're doing the work in the gym for the most part, but you're still wanting a fast pass. And that's where it gets dangerous. And you truly are subject to whoever you've chosen to lead you. And that's scary. I mean, it could be great, you know, but it could be scary. I mean, that's, you know, there's been more deaths in the industry over the past 5 years than several years before that. And I'm not saying that that's because of bad leadership. I'm just saying that's because people are consistently wanting to push boundaries, and that's always risky. So yeah.
The boundary pushing is something that I've talked to some of the guys who I've had on who are in the fitness industry. They're trainers, or they were, bodybuilders, high level bodybuilders. We had a guy on Lifted Mindset, Josh Thomas.
Josh.
He's competing at 300 pounds. Can't sleep. Sleep apnea because his neck muscles are so, and now he walks around at a consistent like 205 and helps a lot of people out, and is very, very honest about like, this is how I was living, and it wasn't healthy, and that seems like it's not a very popular message in the industry, and I think that I think it's dangerous because there's so many people who they hear what they want to hear on social media and they just take it and run with it. Like, I'm 20 something years old and I need TRT, or I need to I need to go on the carnivore diet or just whatever. And there's a lot of misinformation along with good information. Is that something that you're really breaking down with your clients? Like, hey, this is about you. This isn't about what works for her or him or her.
For
it's
sure.
about you.
Yes. I mean, I have clients ranging from age 17 to age 65. So it has to look completely different. I mean, can a 65-year-old body work like a 17-year-old body? It can after some acclimation, absolutely. But nutritionally, hormonally, totally different. So yeah, it has to look different. But to your point on, a lot of the fitness industry may not be happy about hearing, the more is more message, or negating the more is more message. I think that there's kind of two sides to that. I mean, or 2 points to that, really. I think the fitness industry itself maybe doesn't want to hear it, but let's be honest. I mean, that's a, gazillion-dollar industry. They're going to be fine, whatever message is out, to be honest. But I think the people who just have their heart set on looking like that don't want to hear it because they still want to look like that. At the end of the day, they don't want to hear about Josh's sleep problems or his, all the downside because they still want to look like that. I mean, they want to look like 300-pound Josh, Yeah. So the problem is, we still, again, live in this society that is not happy with who they are, that is more concerned with looking that way to impress whoever. I mean, they don't even freaking know who they're going to impress, or to get this chip off their shoulder. They think it's going to go away. It's not going to go away because you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. Instead of, okay, this is healthy. This is functional. This is adding longevity to my life. I mean, that should be your goal in the gym, is to get more functional, get stronger. Absolutely. I mean, as we age, strength, flexibility, 2 most important things. But for longevity, I mean, the problem is when we're shooting for that, we're actually working against that. So your ultimate goal should be to do things that better and lengthen your life. And obviously, I mean, there's catastrophic events that we can't handle. But you know what I mean? I mean, just in the course of general
you've had
health.
stuff happen to you that has nothing to do with anything but, I guess, the way you were born.
Yeah, I mean, literally went into the doctor at 30. How old was I? 30. Yeah, I was 30, and I mean, went into the ER actually, massive headache for 3 days straight. No clue why. I didn't ever have headaches. I mean, it was. Like, I felt stupid. Like, I was embarrassed to be at the ER for a headache. But I was, like, walking into walls at this point. So I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Wow.
I just have a headache. And so they gave me a scan, and sure enough, I mean, I had a quarter-sized blood clot in the back of my brain because of this random bleed in a cavernoma. I mean, not everybody, lots of people have cavernomas in their brain. That's not a weird thing. It's just an irregular collection of cells. But the reason that mine bled at 30, no clue. I mean, they were like, that shouldn't happen. It's super random. We don't know why. It'll never bleed again. It did. It did it again. It did it again. It did it again.
Wow.
So there's no guarantee that you're going to, live forever, obviously. But still, I mean, I want to play with my grandkids. I want to play with my great grandkids. I want to defy odds of what you can do or should do at 80.
How old were you when you started training?
Like clients or lifting myself?
Was training clients as like a personal trainer.
So I mean, coming out of grad school, I was a teacher and a coach. So, I mean, I worked with high school athletes for years, for a decade. And then I was home with my little one for 3 years. And then I transitioned to training. Mm-hmm.
The grad school experience after you complete your undergraduate, were you training for? What were you studying there?
My master's is in PE, physical education. Yep.
So you see at this young age how valuable being physically fit is, but you don't even really realize what you're realizing. You just realize what you're gravitating toward and that you're helping people and you're seeing it help. Did you ever, when you were younger, I know you said that the gym was like an escape. Sports were an escape sometimes, like they are for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Was that like an escape from like, you know, growing up was tough? Did you have anxiety? Were there things that you even, because a lot of younger people
Yeah.
don't even understand that they have like a little bit of anxiety, and
Yeah.
the reason they love sports
Yeah.
is because you have to be totally dialed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so your
Yeah.
mind
I
is,
think there's a lot of truth to that.
it's
for
not
sure.
jumping all around.
Right.
Anxiety is
Yeah.
you're not dialed in. In my opinion,
Yeah.
that's been my experience
Yeah.
with it.
No, I think no, I would agree with that. I think I don't know that I ever necessarily experienced anxiety or if I knew what it was, if I did. But I know that when I was a child, my parents divorced when I was 6 months old for the second time. And so my mom was a single mom for several years. She had a couple of relationships in there. Great mother. I mean, super loving, loved Jesus, worked her tail off, yada, yada, yada. Nothing against my mom, but she was very codependent. And so seeing her on more than one occasion completely broken by whatever the relationship was, and seeing, knowing that she allowed someone else, or she cared about someone else that much, to allow it to just break her down. I mean, from a very young age, 7, 8, I learned you need to be strong. You need to be capable. And and it was, a lot of it was probably born in for bad reasons, not positives. But I was definitely very much against, being weak and growing up weak and giving someone the power to hurt you, mentally, physically, whatever. And so I think, I think that coupled with just my natural personality of, being one of the boys, wanting to win, being competitive, just totally, and the latter definitely created such a hyper focus. Whatever I was doing, even to this day, whatever I'm doing, I'm very dialed in. So yeah, I think a lot of it was, I don't want to be like that. As much as I loved my mom and as much as I respected her and as close as we were, I did not want to be breakable.
When you were growing up and you were trying to impress your brother and hanging out with the boys and stuff like that, were you more naturally inclined to make friends with the dudes than you were with gals? And then you said something like maybe 15 minutes ago about how when you start to kind of level up in your life, your friend, that might make some of your friends a little bit uncomfortable. Has that been something that you've had experience with?
So, two different questions there, but yes. So as a child, I went to the same school from kindergarten through my senior year, the same school district. So I knew who all my friends were from the time I was like 3, pretty much. I guess unless they moved in. But no, I had a very good core group of girlfriends that we all played sports together. I think the boy stuff was just like, I just wanted to be like my brother.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be a boy, but I just wanted to do what he did. So that was kind of where that was. And then to the second part of your question, absolutely. And I almost warn people this now. Once you start choosing you, regardless of the fact that it's not telling anybody else they have to change anything about themselves, it's not putting them down for doing whatever they still want to do, whatever, rock and roll, we're cool. It's just, I can't do that. I need to do this for me. I need to not eat that. I need to not drink that. I need to have it a lot more in moderation, whatever it is. Regardless of the fact that you're not telling them they have to change anything. There's always people who do not understand it because it threatens them. At the end of the day, it threatens them because it makes them question their own apathy with where they're at. And people don't really want to acknowledge until they're ready. Man, I'm not really happy where I'm at. I'm not really happy with what I'm doing for myself. I'm not really happy with the choices I'm making. And maybe I totally get that, taking that step is daunting for sure, but never fails. I mean, I would say 85% of my clients that I've worked with, hundreds of people over the years, there's been a struggle because their spouse, almost sabotage them on a daily basis. And I mean, almost intentionally, because there again, what happens if my wife gets hot? Well, man, then I really got to level up. Or what happens if, then whatever. I don't know what insecurities go on there, but I mean, there's tons. And then friends. I mean, my best friend, she makes little, and they'll start off with the little kind of halfway comments, like just a little bit of shade. Like, oh, well, you're a little more fun when you could do this. And it's just, I mean, it's par for the course. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you talk about like, don't eat this. I'm not going to drink that. People coming off the holidays. And we were actually going to sit down before the holidays, but then that didn't work out because I wanted to specifically ask you about that type of stuff because it's hard for people. I don't know if it's that they perceive that the other person, they might not even say it, but they might side-eye you a little bit, like, oh, you think you're better than us because, you're not having dairy or you're not having gluten or the big one, in my opinion, is drinking. If you're at a social function and you say, no, I'm not going to drink. If you're a woman, the first question, are you pregnant? And the first question, if you're a dude, what do you got some sort of problem?
Yeah.
And, I've noticed as I've gotten older that alcohol has served me less and less and less. And I know I've seen you post about that. How have you seen your relationship? Did you ever have a relationship with alcohol? I mean, you're in college or whatever. Did you drank here and there?
Yeah.
Or was it always something that you stayed away from just because you knew it's not like it's a performance enhancer?
Right. It's definitely not.
No.
Yeah, so definitely drank in college. I mean, had a great time in college. And then drank some probably more like in my early 30s, just going out, dinners, whatever, dating. But never have, been a big drinker. I've never even tried a recreational drug. I mean, I never smoked pot or an edible or anything. And nothing against anybody who has. It's just, I mean, I never could rationalize why do I need this right now? Definitely, grew up with a very high functioning alcoholic father, who, as I aged and as I, saw him every other weekend. So, I mean, we weren't super close. But as I aged and went into high school and then beyond, he was not high functioning anymore. I mean, he was now.
So you recognize that. It's not like that was.
He was 5 DWIs in and Rex. And I mean, it was a miracle that he wasn't either dead or in prison. And it finally came to the point when my twins were 3, and he wasn't getting help and he wasn't making different choices. But I said, hey, Dad, I love you. I hope you get help. Pray for you every day. But until you do get help, we're backing off. I mean, we're not, I'm not going to bring the twins over. We're not, I don't want them to be around you. Nothing against who you are as a man, but I don't want them to form this bond with you and then us have to go visit you in prison or us have to go visit your grave, because you're just not choosing other things. I said, if you ever do, if you get help, let me know. We'll lock it back up. But until then, I mean, it's my job to protect them. And he was like, oh, I understand. No big deal. Never got help.
Oh, man.
So we send each other Christmas cards, and that's okay. But we haven't spoken. So there's I'm the opposite. Like I have a very addictive personality with adrenaline things like the gym. But I've never been big on, substance abuse or anything like that, or substance, period.
Have you noticed, though, that as you got older, as you aged, that alcohol just took more of a toll? Like when you're young, you don't even know what a hangover is.
Yeah.
And then as you do hit your 30s, then your mid-30s, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yep.
And do you help coach your clients through those experiences as well?
Yeah, I feel like, in my experience, alcohol hits everybody a little bit differently. For a lot of my female clients, it washes out your core. And usually you can tell people that, and once they believe it, that's all they need to know because they want to have a nice stomach.
Gotcha.
But it hits people differently. I mean, some people it just accumulates to back fat or whatever. But regardless, there is no positive. I mean, you can't, you know, and for some of them, I mean, I've even built wine into plans, because during the get acclimated process, I mean, I had clients that were like, I cannot give this up yet. I can cut back, but I cannot give this up yet. And I'm like, that's okay. You know, I can build it in to your nutrition plans, but with the goal that we're doing it less and less and less. I mean, I totally understand an evening out, you know, a special occasion, whatever, that's great. But unless you can tell me a reason that it's legitimately making you better, I mean, we need to weed it out. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible for sleep, too. It's awful for sleep. Some people think that it's a sleep enhancer.
Right.
And it's quite the opposite. How important do you stress the importance of sleep to your clients? Because I think people miss the boat there a little bit, and it's so crucial to your recovery and getting the results from your hard work. Is the sleep thing something you really preach?
Oh, it's so important. And I mean, there again, you know, just like the alcohol, when in our 20s, like I felt like I could live off of 4 hours of sleep. Like, no big deal. I'm ready to go again. No problem. I don't need sleep. And now, oh my gosh, like if I don't get, I mean, I'm typically shoot for 7 hours, but if I can get 8, that's even better. No, I tell them it is huge. It is very common. I shouldn't say it's very common, but it's not uncommon for me to see a set of client check-in pictures where they're just holding water. Where they haven't in the past. And then, you know, people go through body phases every month, whatever, but with your check-in pictures being pretty consistent, that shouldn't really change. And I mean, we go through the list. Number 1, you know, what's your stress level? Number 2, are you hydrating? Are you drinking enough water? Number 3, what's your sleep like? You know, and then those 3 things, I mean, one of them guaranteed every time, or more than one for some of them, is off. You know, and I'm like, okay, well, that's it. That's exactly it. And I mean, I do recommend like a cortisol supplement for people that just have high stress jobs, period, because it makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people realize that either. And a lot of people stress themselves out needlessly.
Yep.
So when you're talking to somebody about stress, do you have clients who are like, well, job's stressful, but I'll just get the stress relief at the gym through my workout? Or you're really like, no, let's get your levels checked. I think this could be like the type of thing that could really be holding you back. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I recommend that once a year, if not twice. I mean, if you're older, twice a year, but once a year, getting all your blood work done. Because there's always, you know, work smarter and harder. I'm not going to say not harder, but I mean, know what you're working with and know how to fix that on the inside so that you're, you know, getting the most out of every lift.
The advancements in technology when it comes to getting your levels checked. I mean, how can you explain the just exponential advancements there in terms of how it was 10 years ago compared to how it is now? I mean, it's almost running parallel to just the way technology has exploded.
It's amazing. I mean, it'll tell you everything. And if you're working with the right professional, specifically a doctor, I mean, not just me, like I can tell you, okay, he's probably going to recommend that you take this or take this. I mean, you're going to have that fixed. But the other thing that I love for my people to do is an RMR check. Just, you know, breathe into the machine for like 10 minutes. It's very uncomfortable to do.
What's RMR stand
your
for?
Resting metabolic rate. Yeah, so just see what your body needs at rest. I mean, the formulas that I work with my clients nutrition-wise are based on a lot of that just by body stats alone, but it's not as precise as actually going and getting an RMR check so that you can know, okay, at rest, I need this many calories. And then we can build your plan off of that. The other thing that it does, which is super cool, is it tells you what type of a burner you are. So are you primarily a fat burner or a carb burner, or, you know, what's your fuel? And like mine changed actually a lot a few years ago. I mean, I was basically a 50-50 burner, which was pretty cool. And then I changed to more like a 35-65.
What
I think I was 50-50 carbs to fats. And then I changed to more fats and less carbs.
At what age did that change for you? And did it change suddenly, or
kind of? I mean, it was within 2 years. So yeah, I mean, you just never know. You can never have too much information on how your body is performing.
Yeah, I mean, when you're helping people figure out what to eat and what not to eat, are you also advising them to get food sensitivity testing done so that they know what's causing them inflammation?
So not unless there is a reason of concern. Like there again, if you're holding water or if you're just, if things are off, you're not sleeping well, whatever, then yes, I mean, absolutely request that with your blood work panel. But if there's not a reason for that, I don't necessarily tell all my people to go do that.
When people come, how often are people reaching out to you and they just have no idea what they should be eating, how much of it they should be eating, the mix of the macros? They might not even understand macros.
So my nutrition planning is far more detailed than most that's out there. And so, I mean, I would say that pretty much everybody that's ever come is not detailed to that degree. But yeah, I mean, the majority of people have no clue what healthy is. And the worst part about it is, I mean, you've got people on social media telling them, hey, these are my Costco finds, or hey, these are my Walmart finds, and it's frozen this or processed that or whatever. And I mean, hundreds of comments, thousands of likes, because people are like, oh my God, that's so amazing. You just saved me 20 minutes on my meal prep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but she just loaded you up with sodium.
Right.
Exactly. So that's not a positive. But they leave that out. I mean, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of if it fits your macros. I believe, just because every carb is different. I mean, there's a certain time of day you want to eat white rice. There's a certain time of day you want to eat sweet potatoes, or in regards to when your workout is, because they don't do the same thing. They're not made up the same way. So yeah, I mean, you could have 50 grams of this and 50 grams of that, but they really have two different intentions. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there, and it's, people would love for you to just come on and just say, hey, this is how you do it. It's no big deal. No problem. We can just cut this corner and that corner and whatever. But I don't know how to do that, because that's not true. I mean, can you lose weight doing certain things? Absolutely. You can lose body fat doing certain things. No question. Is it going to be sustainable over time? Are you going to hit a wall? It's probably not going to be sustainable over time. You probably are going to hit a wall or a plateau at some point, because there's a difference in doing a pretty good job and nailing it down.
The nutrition thing, is that something that you had nailed down from an early age, or when you were in college and stuff like that, it was, a free-for-all, and maybe you've dialed that in? And has your understanding of nutrition and the way that food is actually, it can be medicine to your body, has that changed and expanded as you've gained experience?
So it has, oh my gosh, I used to eat terrible. I mean, and I don't think I didn't ever eat like crazy bad, but I didn't eat crazy good either. I mean, I can remember when I was in my late 20s even, with as much background as I had, in education. And the last thing I would eat would be like some lettuce and some pickles and maybe some lunch meat. And I didn't want to eat after like 7 p.m. because Oprah said, don't eat after 7 p.m. And nobody seemed to notice that Oprah was very fat.
Right.
So why were we listening to Oprah? I don't understand. So I tell people that all the time, like, eat. There's no time too late to eat. I mean, because ultimately what you're doing, if you're, and I believe in small meals, small increments throughout the day. If you're eating at 10 p.m., great. If that's how your meal's spaced out, your metabolism is going to be working through the night. I mean, ultimately, that's what we want to do. That's why we're eating multiple small meals, because we want to consistently make our body work, consistently give it enough to make it to the next meal, and then keep it working. So yeah, you cannot eat too late.
How many meals are you usually taking in a typical day?
Now 6 usually, but like when I was trying to grow, 7 or 8.
What do you think about fads or things that people talk about, like intermittent fasting and things like that? Do you think there's value to that? Do you think that everybody is different?
It depends on what your definition of value is. If your definition of value is this going to produce results right now? Yeah. I mean, intermittent fasting will produce results right now. Is it something that's going to over time destroy your hormones? Absolutely. Is it something that over time is going to backfire and you're going to gain the weight back? Absolutely, because it's not sustainable. And people would say, well, 6 meals a day isn't sustainable either. Well, I mean, 2 of those meals are protein shakes. I have a protein shake in my car, so it doesn't have to all be food meals. But it has to be something that your body is going to respond to well over years. I mean, ultimately, you want to build a lifestyle,
right?
Not a fad, not a trend, not I'm going to do this for 3 months, drop like 30 pounds, and then in 6 months, I'm probably going to have gained 40. You know?
Yeah, you've talked about longevity, but you also, in so many words, have talked about sustainability as well. Like setting up a lifestyle for yourself that is something that'll work, that you can stick to. Not everybody can go do Olympic lifts every single day.
Right.
It just doesn't work for everybody.
Yep.
But if you're at least, like you said, trying to put it in terms of your effort and you're giving it your all when you are there. What's the hardest thing for you to get across to people? Is it when we show up, we work out hard, or is it we can't outwork our fork?
You know, I would say it's neither of those. I would say it's consistently, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, people like to get overwhelmed, because it is a bit of a safety net for them. It is I'm overwhelmed. This probably is a good time for me to back up. It's like their free pass to take a step back. How about when you're overwhelmed, we stop and we say, yeah, you can. Yeah, we can figure out how to do this, and we can figure out how to do this and how to make it work for the long haul. Not be afraid or be shunned away by what is a big change. Because people don't like change. It is very uncomfortable. But until you realize, man, if I really want these big changes to happen, I really have to make some big changes here. I mean, to have big changes in results, I have to have big changes in practice. So the problem is, people come because they want change in results without really figuring out, okay, that's going to mean I'm going to have to do a lot of things differently in my life right now. And once you realize, or once they realize, okay, this is all doable. We're going to figure out how to do it. And I don't just, throw them to the wolves. I mean, we figure out how to do it. How are we going to make this work? And then once you start doing it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, yes, you can. Okay, I did. Yes, I can tomorrow. Okay, I did. Yes, I can the next day. Okay, I did. So my biggest thing is, yeah, you can. I mean, have your little freak out moment about all this change, blow it out, and then decide, all right, we're doing it.
What was that something that you took a minute to come to a realization of in your own life? And are you a self-talk type person?
I used to be a big self-talker in the gym. I don't know that I talk as much anymore to myself.
What about just in the rearview mirror though? Just like in the morning, maybe you don't feel like it, but you're like, no, we're doing this. This is what we do.
No, I think because I'm finally at the point, I mean, I probably have been, but because I'm finally at the point where, I mean, I live the routine. Like it is a staple. This is my lifestyle. And I like it. I feel good about it. Like there's so much intrinsic reward in it, that it's not like I'm so far past the, oh man, I have to do this today. Or, oh man, I have to eat 6 times today. I mean, there was a time, when that was like, I can remember when I completely changed nutrition because I wanted to put on muscle, and it was daunting. And I was like, shit, all I do is eat. I mean, I'm so full. I don't want to eat again. But you do it because my alarm went off on my phone or my watch, and okay, it's time to eat again. You do it. Finally, by week 3.5, I was hungry. So I knew my metabolism had picked up. So no, I mean, now it's so much just parts of my day, as much as getting up, as much as brushing my teeth. It truly is lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard I think that's hard for people who are just starting out to hear.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They want to think like that somehow you've got some, motivational speaker guru who you listen to every day on the way to the gym or something like that. But and I'm sure that it gets frustrating but it's also part of your mission, right? To get across to them that, like, no, this is that you won't believe how you feel if you would just try these few things. Like, are there just a few things that you'll start people off with that they don't even realize that they're fucking up, that they can be doing so much better? Like, they're just what they drink in a day.
So,
like, I know people who drink real soda pop out of soda cans.
So there are definitely people out there who will tell you, or who will, that's their MO. Their MO is, okay, this week, we're just going to make sure we get a gallon and a half of water every day. And next week, we're going to work in our core work. And then the week after that, we're going to do whatever. And the week after that, we're going to make sure that our first 3 meals are on point. And I mean, and by 6 months
Right.
of me taking your money and me patting you on the back and, you know, for lack of a better word, coddling you through this, which, I mean, who knows if you're even going to stick around for that long, because why would you? You're not going to see results just adding water and then adding core work. You're not going to see results for months. And so, no, there are people for sure that is their MO. I mean, they want to, I'm going to ease people in.
Dip the toe.
I am not a dip the toe.
No,
I am
seem like it.
We are jumping the fuck in, and you're going to mess up. And that's okay. I mean, we're going to, day 2 may be a total shit show. Day 4 of week 3 may be awful. You may totally mess up. You may go to work, you forget all your meals, you have a meeting, and so you don't get to do whatever. Awesome. We're going to make day 5 of week 3 fantastic. It's going to happen. I mean, it's not, you're shooting for perfection every day. I tell my people that. You're shooting for perfection every day. And it's attainable, absolutely, as long as everything you have control over, you know, nothing else that you don't have control over comes into play. But something that you don't have control over at some point is going to come into play. Now, then we start talking about, okay, let's start problem preparing. So what if, you know, your boss has a tendency on Thursday afternoons to call the meeting. So how about Thursdays, we move your workout to the morning. You know what I mean? So then we start to prepare better. You know, it's not just about execution with, oh, well, couldn't change anything about that. Well, but if we would have seen this pattern, or if we would have known this was a possibility of happening, could we have done something differently? Well, in the future, let's have that as a backup, you know? So no, I'm definitely a go all in, go as hard as you can every day. If you aren't able to finish the workout for week 1, that's okay. Week 2, we're working on adding that last set, whatever it is. But no, we are diving in.
When you talked about people reaching out to you and they feel like they've lost themselves, they don't even know who they are anymore. And then I said, when you're young, you're just kind of rolling. You said the word invincible. So when we're young, we don't know any better. We're just out there. We're fearless. You just taking chances. Some really dumb ones. Boy, can I tell some stories. That you're just out there and you're just hammering away. You're going. And then life catches up with you. And you start to, oh, what's family going to think if I don't want cheese at the holiday or just whatever? And you start to give your power away. And I think that a lot of what people really start to understand when they start to take their lives back is that when you control everything, like you said, that you can control, you're actually way more powerful than you ever realized. Right. And you know, that's such a crazy realization to have when you see the lights come on for people because they took the power back. It wasn't, oh, this is happening to me. This is
oh yeah.
It's 100% what goes in my eyes, ears, mouth, what comes out of my mouth, whether I'm positive. All of that is stuff I can control, and I'm going to control all of it. I'm going to be aware. Is a lot of just kind of letting life get away from you, just losing awareness. Like maybe you ask a client or a potential client, like, tell me what you ate yesterday. I don't know. And once you start saying, let's track that. What did you eat? What did you drink? Let's go. Is that a lot of just these practical type things that people lose sight of? Yeah.
No, I love the phrase that you just said, to take your power back. Because that's exactly what it is. And until you put in the work, you know, a day, a week, a month, and start to feel, invested in this process. Start to feel good about taking care of you, starting to feel a little bit of value in the time that you're putting into yourself. Then it becomes, a repeating cycle. And you start to feel powerful. I mean, I'm not ever going to be the strongest female alive or anything close. I'm not ever going to be Miss Olympia, whatever. But I feel very powerful. I feel very strong. I feel very capable. And I feel very accountable at the same time. It's 100% against the victim mentality. And that's, I definitely see a lot of that. Well, I just don't know how I can make this work. Or, well, this is what happened to me. Well, none of that matters. I mean, at the end of the day, set your schedule, execute your schedule. And if it's not perfect that day, work your ass off to make it perfect the next day. I mean, we have a choice and we have control. I read something the other day, and it was, the basis was basically, you have time. You have time. You just choose other things. If something was life or death, if X was life or death, would you make time for that in your schedule? Absolutely. You would carve it out. But the thing that is the most important, your health, your longevity, your physical ability, and 100% your mental fortitude, because, again, that's just way the biggest perk. All of that should be your number one priority. Number one. And it's, you suddenly can't even, have time for it. We are a society that is so conditioned to, I got to go to work, I got to do the soccer games, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I'm probably going to eat like shit through all of that because it's just whatever's convenient or whatever's fast. I'm not going to take care of my body. But these are things all I have to do. Well, okay, maybe you got to go to work. And okay, yeah, the soccer game's important. So let's figure out how to do the rest of it better. There are going to be some immovable things in your schedule. I get that. But there's always a way. If you want it. Some people don't even really want it.
No, I think you're right. I don't think you, and it's just like anything. You can't. It doesn't matter how well you say it to them. If they're not making the decision themselves, you can't tie their sneakers for them every morning and pull them out of bed.
Yeah.
I know that some people reach out to personal trainers because they want like that accountability, kind of like that where you at. If you don't give me 24 hours of notice, I'm charging your card. That because they just need. Is when people work with you long enough, does that kind of go away and they just start to they're able to kind of get over the hump? Is that part of the thing for you? Is like these first few weeks? Are you saying that to people like these first few weeks? We're gonna work hard.
Oh yeah, no.
We're not here. This is not. Yeah. This is not a made-for-TV movie.
No.
This is going to be R-rated, hardcore, work hard.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. It is what it is.
And not just all of that, but I want you to be excited about that. Like, I don't just want you to know that's what's coming, but I want us to start working on how you perceive those things, how you perceive this is going to be hard, and how you perceive this is going to be bland or boring or whatever, or monotonous or painful. I want you to change how your mind sees that as a negative and make it like, fuck yeah, that's just going to be hard. And that's awesome because I know that what's super hard, super uncomfortable, that's where the change is. And remember, I want change. I came here. I started this because I want change.
Yeah.
And so once you can flip that and just look at it rationally, take your feelings out of it. Like, I don't care how you feel about it. I really don't. You shouldn't either. If A has to be done to get to B, A all day long. If I want to be at B, homie, A all day long. I don't care what it is. A all day long.
Yeah, is the goal to win or is the goal just
to feel good,
to play,
to
or to feel?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the real question.
Yeah, and people, and the thing is, you don't have to pick. If you truly choose the right one in the beginning, you are winning. You are winning. It's there's nothing better. There's no better feeling than, man, I kicked my ass today. Like I told somebody that the other day, and they're like, man, I don't know if I've ever really felt that way. Like been excited about it. I'm like, dude, I get excited about that.
Yeah.
Like it feels good to know that it sucked, but you went hard in the paint. You know, you did it.
Who was your favorite NBA basketball player growing up?
Oh, for sure, Jordan.
You love that term.
For sure, Jordan.
So mine was Sean Kemp. You remember Sean Kemp, the Rain Man?
Yeah.
And he got arrested yesterday evening, and is caught on camera for like drive-by shooting somebody in King County in Seattle. No, it's crazy. Like crazy. Remember when Dirk retired and Cuban brought, who'd he bring? He brought Detlef Shrimp, Sean Kemp, Charles Barkley. He brought a couple. Remember, they all came. They surprised Dirk, and Kemp was like, he was the man for me. I was talking to a friend about him the other. Yeah, man. In a shopping center parking lot, wearing a red vest, and he's like 6'10".
Yeah, stands out a little bit.
Yeah, it's not good. No, you love sports.
I do love
like
sports.
You're way into it.
I do love sports, and I think I love just the old school, just romantics of it. You know, I mean, just the guts and glory, and I mean, you know, I'm all for rules and safety and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, back when, you know, people could just totally light up people in football,
right.
and I mean, you know, the batter could just go at the pitcher in baseball. I mean, there were consequences, but still, I mean, it wasn't, it was just guts and glory.
Is your intensity about life something that continues to grow? Like, is that fire getting hotter? Has it been really hot for a long time? And how has that affected your business success, especially your entrepreneurship journey, running your own businesses?
I think it's definitely still growing. I mean, I hope it's still growing. You know, just as you learn more about yourself and what I want to do next, you know, I mean, and not that I'll ever walk away from training because I love it, but what I want to add to the plate, you know, it's exciting. And I always want to feel excited about what I'm doing, you know, whatever it is, because then I know I'm on the right track. It doesn't mean there's not going to be days that suck and the work's not going to be hard at times, but it's got to be rewarding. It's got to be, you know, personally gratifying. So yeah, I mean, I hope I want it to continue to grow. I mean, I would love to at some point write. I would love to, you know, just develop I have a collagen product out there, develop that more, market it better. So yeah, keep growing.
3 years ago when the cold came out and they told everybody, you know, you got to stay away from each other and you got to get this,
The cold.
yeah. I mean, were you training full time then? Training clients full time?
Yeah.
So did that just shut down because all the gyms closed?
So actually, 2 years before COVID, I started my remote business completely online, email based, and so I was doing what a lot of trainers switched to after COVID for years before it happened.
Like meal plans, workout plans?
Yeah. So with people that I never saw in person, was not working with clients in person, other than I think one lady, just because she was a longtime client. But it was completely all online clients. I have a few in-person clients now, but still the majority of my business is remote, all over the world clients. So it was crazy because, you know, more people reach out to me because they knew that I did that. And I did that before. I mean, I was like one of the OGs, you know, who did it. And so they reached out to me and were like, hey, you know, I'm in St. Louis, my gym is closed, so my trainer can't train me anymore. I heard from a friend of a friend that you do all your stuff remote. I have this equipment at home. Can you build a plan for me around that? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at the beginning of COVID, my business actually blew up even more. And since then, it's kind of tapered off. But, yeah, it's, you know, and you would think and hope that something like that would inspire people to be more conscious about their health. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think we have seen. I think that it became an excuse for a lot of people. I mean, I think it was pretty amazing to me, being in an essential industry, how many people were still like, oh, no, that's an opportunity to provide for my family, but, I don't know. And I, as soon as it started, was 1,000% skeptical right off the bat, where when all of that first started out, were you like, this doesn't sound right, this is weird, you're saying stay out of the sun, stay away from people, don't go outside, like get on your couch and ride it out. I mean, what the fuck?
So yeah, what the fuck is a good summary. So I for sure had COVID like May of 2020, so really early on. And I know that because my lungs were on fire. And for like 2 days, I thought I was going to die. And then my body did this crazy thing, like a body is supposed to do. And my immune system started to fight it. And I got better. I mean, my lungs still felt like shit for a couple months because I still trained. I mean, I had a full gym in my house and Stairmaster and everything else. So it's not like I wasn't going to train, even though I couldn't get to a gym. So it probably prolonged my episode of COVID. But yeah, it was a very tough flu. I am so thankful, excuse me, that I am so stubborn, and was like, why would I let them stick me with something that I don't know if anybody else has had any bad effects from it? This is a brand new thing, hasn't really been tested. I mean, not sure I always trust the government to begin with.
Well, but you're also like very dialed in about what you put into your body. A lot of people are not. A lot of people are just tell me what to take. I'm going to go to my doctor. I'm going to tell him I can't sleep, pill. I have anxiety, pill. I'm overweight, pill. Have a good day. And, you're in an industry where, and you're preaching this gospel to people of, hey, your body can do way more than you think it can. It's an amazing machine. It's completely adaptable.
Yep.
If you will at least push past a little bit of the pain, your body can do so many things. I mean, what the body was built to withstand and to do, whether it was starvation or cold or hot, it is.
Yeah.
But, it's just a walk in the park these days.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people they hear what they want to hear. They want to hear take the pill. In some countries,
it's
if you
prescribed
come in,
peace of mind.
yeah,
So they thought.
Well, if you come in and you're pre-diabetic in some countries, they will tell you in 2 months we're going to start you on this regimen. But before that, you have to do all of these things. You have to track it, you have to prove it, and then come back. People will come back in 2 months, and all of those symptoms went away because they started
doing the right things,
actually
taking
paying
care of their
attention
bodies.
to what they were putting into their bodies. And that's it's got to be something that it's obviously something that you're passionate about. When you post on social media and you're putting up like, you can do this, yes you can, is that coming from this ultimate coach's mentality that you obviously have? And is that something that is that how do you coach your elite level volleyball player daughter that way? Or do you watch your games and you're like, hey, great game, but I saw you lagging here or there?
Yes, that is my coaching mentality for sure. I mean, I'm a huge believer in, aside from just knowing what we know about the body and all of its capabilities, back to my faith, when you think about the one who created it, the ultimate badass of badasses is God, in my opinion. And a lot of people, I think, have this very one-sided vision of God, that he's judgmental and, don't do this and, put you in a box and whatever. But the reality is there's this huge warrior side of God. God is a warrior, and God protects us, and he builds us, and he's fought for us. And that's my Heavenly Father. And that's everybody's Heavenly Father, whether they know it or not yet. But when you think about I was created in that image, holy shit. There's almost nothing physically that I can't do if I put the work in. And that's way bigger than me. That's just faith. And that's believing in, who created me and his freaking power. So yeah, I mean, that is 100% my conversation with clients. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, right now, all you want to listen to is, pain or fear or worry or discomfort or whatever it is. But set that aside and just ask, did I make it through this or not? Yes, you made it through this. So yes, you can do it. And is it going to get easier? Yeah, just in time for us to make it a little harder, because we're not chasing just to the finish line. This is the process. I mean, we want to fall in love with the process. We don't just want to get from A to B. With my daughter, when she was little, yes, very much. I mean, it was very much like, all right, we got to do this better. We got to do this better. Yada, yada, yada. You did this great. We need to fix this. And that was just from my coaching background. But I knew from a very young age, because she was a great athlete, that I was doing her a disservice if she didn't play on the best team, because she needed to be surrounded by very elite athletes. Because the last thing I want is for my kid to feel like she's a superstar. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm your number one fan, and I want you to believe in you, and there's nothing I don't think you can do. But we're not going to be, a middle school superstar or a high school superstar. We're going to be a middle school hard-ass worker who's very talented. We're going to be a high school hard-ass worker who's very talented. Once you start thinking you're a superstar, I mean, you might as well just start signing autographs and sit on the bench and, during practice, because you don't need it. So very much mentality of work harder, get better, figure out what's not your strong suit so that you can make it your strong suit. But wanted her to be surrounded by a team that was very good. So, I mean, even at 6, 7, found where the best development club was in the Metroplex for volleyball, and that was the one that we went to. And she did club prep there at 7 and 8, and then she started club there at 9. And so, really, honestly, from like 10 on, it's been amazing, because I have had to do that very little. Because when your kids are able to play at that level, for that level of coaching, and on that level of team, you're basically saying, okay, I trust you guys. I trust you guys. We had our choice of where we wanted to go. We think this is the best. So I don't have to, have her in the back seat on the way home and me chewing her out about what she should have done better. Her coach should be doing that. That's what we're paying for. We have had conversations since then, even recently, about things that needed to be better. But really more from you got a scholarship offer. She had a few, but we committed to one. And this is what they're going to expect from you. You're a junior in high school now, but 2 years from now, this is the expectation, and you're going to have to be able to do these things, and you're not doing one of those things very well right now. So you got a year and a half. You can look at it like, well, I already know they want me. Not a big deal. I could just, rely on these other strengths. Or you can use the next year and a half to make that, a strong suit. So, conversations like that for sure. I'm a huge believer in knowing yourself. Not just because it's fun to figure out your quirks, but so that you can really have a game plan for your life or for whatever it is you want to do. That's really ups your chances for success.
The whole select sports thing's big here. Like, it's huge. It's big business. Yeah. It's obviously important to the premier athletes. My dad told me growing up, is where we grew up, it wasn't like this. Mm-hmm. It was more rural. Mm-hmm. And there were select opportunities, but he would say, if you're good enough, they'll find you. Mm-hmm. Like, just go dominate where you're at. Mm-hmm. This select thing, though, when I talk to some parents or some guys or gals who were premier athletes, they'll talk about, man, I was bordering on burnout sometimes. Mm-hmm. Are there is that mm-hmm. something that you'll even listen to? You're pretty hard driving, or are you like, what are you talking about? You got an opportunity here that a lot of people would kill for. There's no such thing as burnout, or how do you address that with your daughter?
I have had to address that when she was 7 with a different sport. I know it sounds ridiculous. But I have not. I mean, it hasn't even remotely come up. I mean, she is so dialed into, this is, I mean, just ingrained in who she is. So that conversation hasn't had to happen. A conversation that will have to happen and will be very much more difficult, I think, for her is, 6 years down the road when she's done with her college eligibility and she's no longer a volleyball player. And she's kind of like, okay, what do I do now? I mean, this thing that has given me so much over the last, decade and a half or 2 decades by then, well, decade and a half, is now not really a thing. I mean, she could go play rec ball at an adult league or whatever and kill people, but I don't know if that's really the same thing.
Yeah, it's when the competitive career is over, it's a real bitch.
Yeah. I mean, so what are you going to do now? And so
Right.
I think that's going to be a huge self-discovery thing for her. And you just, as a parent, you just pray that something else, during those 4 years of college, whatever she's studying or whatever she gets into also starts to set her heart on fire a little bit for something else.
It seems like you take your responsibility as the example for your kids very, very seriously. And then you've set yourself up as this example for other people as their coach, their trainer, etc. And is that ever anything that bothers you? Is that ever something that you're like, man, I just need a day off?
No.
So you're like 100% the blonde David Goggins over here. Like no days off.
I am
cussing out your running shoes.
I'm a no days off person. No, I think that people, I think I could wear that as a lot of pressure. But that's only if I'm trying to put some false front forward to my clients or to my children. I mean, 100%. Like, I am not perfect. 100%. I've made mistakes. I mean, my children have lived through some of those mistakes. I mean, I'm gonna make mistakes. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna, I've sent the wrong plans to somebody before because they had the same name as another client. I mean, I've totally dropped the ball on things. It's not always about perfection or it's not about not messing up. It's about intention. I mean, have I made stupid decisions in every area of life, including as a parent? Absolutely. But I mean, I hope that, and I have had the forethought or the afterthought to go to my kids and be like, man, guys, I should have done this better. I totally messed this up. That's on me. I'm not perfect. I'm sorry. And they, kids, super gracious. They're always like, Mom, you're awesome. It's fine. No worries. But I want them to also understand how to have a level of humility. That there's no shame at all in acknowledging something that you messed up on, and then learning from it. So, yeah, I don't wear that as the whole world depends on me by any means. I think it's, just more of a working relationship. I'm gonna do my 100% for you. I mean, my 100% for you doesn't mean I'm gonna always be perfect. And you're gonna do your 100% for you also. So, and that's the other thing. Like I've had people come to me and say, "I mean, Coach, I'm sorry, I really let you down." I'm like, "No, you didn't let me down. Like, don't think that for a second." Do I believe in you? Absolutely. Do I know you can do better? Absolutely. Am I going to think that tomorrow, even though you messed up today? Absolutely. I mean, you're human. But now if we're just self-sabotaging over and over again, then we got to have a real conversation. People, part of, especially a lot of my, again, female clients, and it's with men, it's more the alcohol, I think, is why. Why is that your go-to? What are you trying to feel when you eat that or when you drink that or whatever? And sometimes if we can just figure out, what moment you're trying to escape from or what you're trying to numb, or what you're trying to find comfort in or why you need comfort in that minute. I mean, sometimes if we do that, man, we can just learn some self-talk strategies to back yourself out of that before it happens. Women tend to use food as a comfort or as a social. and men tend to use alcohol as a number or social. So I mean, and you can. I've told clients how to go to a bar and look like you're drinking all night and not have a single drop of alcohol.
So you don't even have to address it.
It's not that hard.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little deceitful, but if it makes you more comfortable and makes the other people around more comfortable, and that's the step you need to take, great, knock it out. We can do that.
Yeah, is the problem there that the other people know they probably are doing something they really should? Like, is it that their conscience is bearing down on them when you're like, no, I'll pass on that?
Right. Yeah. For sure. I think it truly does make people uncomfortable because it makes them question their own lack of discipline or lack of motivation or lack of wanting something more for themselves, for sure.
People who want to get the summer body, they need to reach out to you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I know you can help them with their nutrition plans. You can help point them in the right direction for getting levels tested. You can help them figure out what they're burning better at different times, like you've figured out. All of these things you can help people with are things that you've figured out because you've studied them, but also because you live them. How should people reach out to you and connect with you? What's the best way for them to find you and connect with you and start setting up a talk with you and seeing if it's a good fit?
So my email is, right now, email me at jessica@jessica.fit. And then my Instagram is Jessica Williams Fit. So, and then my YouTube is Jessica Williams IFBB Pro. So, and that's just random videos, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
You're
Absolutely. Awesome. You're a star. That was awesome. If you're trying to get the real you back and you're trying to get the most you out of you that you can possibly get, I think you should probably reach out to Jessica. Very inspiring to sit down with somebody who is so driven and who is absolutely steadfastly committed to getting the last drop of potential out of themselves. And I think we should all learn from that. Getting out there and living a DIY life is about tackling life with passion. I know some days I don't necessarily feel like it, but sitting down with somebody like Jessica makes me want to get back in there and just hit it even harder. I hope you enjoy the podcast. I really like shooting them. If you can think of somebody who I should sit down with, please DM me at Jess from the Northwest on Instagram. Reach out to Jessica. I think she can help you a bunch with your fitness, your nutrition, your mindset, all of that. We'll talk to you all next time. Hey, what's up? Thanks for checking out my videos here on the Jess Marshall YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for sure. Hit that bell. Press that button to watch the next video. If you got a question you have about any of the topics I bring up in the videos, drop a question below, and we'll be sure to get an answer back to you ASAP. See you on the next one.